Pag-usapan naman po natin ngayon yung Senado. So doon pa lang sa punto na yan, mga kababayan, matagal ko na po itong alam at sinasabi ko pa noon pa, pero hindi ko po inilabas po ng panahon ng kampanya para po hindi magkaroon ng preemption. Baka sasabihin ng mga kababayan po natin na ganito, no? So ngayon, natapos ng eleksyon, hindi man po tayo nagwagi, pero nagpapasalamat tayo sa ating pong may kapal, sa pamilya Duterte, sa suporta nila sa atin, sa mga overseas Filipino workers, sa mga magsasaka, at sa inyong lahat, mga 8 milyon. Kung 8 milyon lamang po yung bumoto sa akin, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Ngayon, tungkol naman po sa Senado. Pag-usapan natin ang Senado. Ang Senado ba ay tulad ng Kamara, na ang Kamara ay hindi continuing body? Ang Senado ba ay isang continuing body or continuing institution? Meron po akong pagdududa, doubts. Dahil sa mga desisyon po ng Supreme Court, magmula po doon sa kasong Arnold versus Nazareno. It's an old case. Matagal na po yung kaso na yan, Arnold versus Nazareno. Dinesisyonan po yan ng Supreme Court under the 1935 Constitution as amended. Pero under that Constitution, ang Senado po ay composed of 24 senators din. Pero elected every 2 years, 8 senador. Every 2 years, nag-i-elect tayo noong mga panahon na yon. 8 senador lamang. So, at any given time, during the period na may election, may 16 tayong mga senador na naiiwan. 16 na senador kasi 8 lamang po every 2 years yung i-elect natin. So ang Senado under that case of Arnold versus Nazareno was a continuing institution and body. So lahat ng mga nakabinbin na mga panukalang batas doon o resolution o kaya treaty or international agreement for ratification will continue. Hindi nagkakaroon ng termination every 2 years. Ganyan din ang formula sa Amerika, sa US Congress. Kasi ang Senado rin, doon sa Amerika, 100 senators, 1/3 of them ay elected every 2 years din, for a term of 6 years. Ganun din po yun. So, at any given time, may naiiwan na mga 66 or 67 na mga senador ng Amerika. So, the Senate of the United States is a continuing institution. It is a continuing body. And all pending matters in the Senate of the United States Congress can continue. Same was true during the time under the 1935 Constitution. Kasi nga, 16 yung senador nating naiiwan. But under the 1987 Constitution, ang ine-elect na lamang po natin ay 12 senador every 3 years, starting 1995. Kasi nga, noong 1987, we elected 24 senators, and then in 1992, we elected 24 senators na naman, pero yung top 12 will hold office for 6 years. The 13th to 24th senator will hold office for 3 years, and then starting 1995, nag-elect na tayo ng 12 senators in 98, 2001, gano'n. So ang question, continuing body pa rin ba ang Senado natin under the 1987 Constitution in the present setting? Ang sa akin po ay hindi. It's not a continuing body or continuing institution. Pero may decision kasi ang Supreme Court. Mga decision po nila magmula po doon sa kaso ni Neri versus Senate of the Philippines, kaso ni Garciliano versus House of Representatives. Yung mga estudyante po ng political law constitutional law, tingnan nyo itong mga kasong ko. Neri versus Senate of the Philippines, Garciliano versus House of Representatives, tapos Romero II versus Estrada, ganyan. Tapos yung pinakalitis itong Alvin ito? Itong pinakalitis yung kaso na yan ng dinesisyonan po ng Supreme Court. yung Arvin Balag versus Senate of the Philippines, which was decided sometime in 2017. At dyan sinabi ng Supreme Court na the Senate is a continuing body, it's a continuing institution. Pero sabi ko nga, hindi ako kumporme doon sa decision na ito ng Supreme Court in a way kasi 12 senador lamang yung maiiwan eh. How can a 12 senators supposed to be composed of 24 senators po yan eh. So hindi magiging majority, no? Yung unless mabawasan na isa, naging 23 na lamang. Well, at any rate, that is the decision now in our jurisdiction. So we have to respect that. We may disagree with it, but since that is the existing jurisprudence right now, then I have to respect it as a lawyer and as a taxpayer and as a citizen. Okay, assuming so that it is still a continuing body or institution. Can it continue, however, the Senate to transact business of pending matters in the Senate, like bills, itong mga panukalang batas, mga resolusyon, mga pending matters about the ratification of treaties or international agreements pursuant to the provision of the Constitution that the Senate of the Philippines is the only body that can ratify treaties or international agreement? Or can it continue to hear and decide cases of impeachments just as like what is now pending in the Senate? Ang opinion ko po ay hindi. Dahil sa rules of the Senate, while it is a continuing body or continuing institution, as the Supreme Court already said in numerous cases, Neri versus Supreme Court, Garciliano versus House of Representatives, Romero II versus Estrada, and then here now the case of Balag versus the Senate of the Philippines. All pending matters, however, in the Senate are deemed terminated. And it is only optional, sabi nga ng Supreme Court, optional for the Senate of the Philippines to hear and act on these matters as if for the first time. It is as if for the first time it is filed. So, ibig sabihin yan, particularly, let's focus dito sa ating impeachment ni VP Sara. So, June 3, magkakaroon ng session. Senate will act as an impeachment court. Ifa-file po nila o mag-a-approve po nila yung kanilang rules of impeachment. And then, tatanggapin na nila formally yung impeachment case na yan. It will now be put in their calendar and then bibigyan ng summon si Vice President Sara Duterte na hindi naman niya masasagot within 10 days. Pagdating ng 4th Monday of July, ayan, na-reorganize na rin yung Senate. Na-elect na yung Senate President. Na-elect na rin yung mga other officers of the Senate. Secretary of the Senate, yung Majority Leader, etc. So, anong gagawin uli ng Senado? Then, they will have to transform themselves again as an impeachment court. Panibago na mga member ng impeachment court. Kasi 12 nga doon sa mga senador na tumakbo, 12 lang yung elect or na-re-elect yung iba. Tulad ni Senator Pong Revilla, unfortunately, hindi siya na-re-elect. So, out. Senator Francis Tolentino, out. Hindi na rin siya magiging wala na. So, may mga bagong mga membro po ng Senate Impeachment Court like Senator si Congressman Marcoleta, hindi pa natin siya masabing Senator-elect. So, magiging member po ng Impeachment Court. Magiging member ng Senado si Congressman Marcoleta. No? So, magpapanibago po yung member po ng Impeachment Court. So, anong gagawin po dyan? Mag-a-approve na naman ng panibagong rules of impeachment. Diba? Papanibago ng rules of impeachment. So, i-approve nila yung rules of impeachment. Magpapanibago na naman na magpadala ng summon kay Vice President Inday Sara itong bagong impeachment court. But, ito ang tanong. Can the new Senate of the Philippines assume jurisdiction over an impeachment case that was referred by the old House of Representatives? When I already said a while ago, binanggit ko na wala na yun eh. So, since there is no more impeachment case that is pending, when the Congress of the Philippines adjourned on June 30, there is nothing to be heard by the new Senate as an impeachment court because there is no more impeachment case against VP Sara after June 30. Maliwanag po yan. Yan ang aking legal opinion. So whatever action that the new Senate will do after June 30, and that would be by 4th Monday of July, if they are going to keep on saying that they can acquire jurisdiction and they will recognize this impeachment case that was referred on February 5 by the outgoing Congress or passed forward by the old Congress, would then be, as far as I am concerned, an act with grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack of jurisdiction. Yun po yung aking opinion dyan. So, pwede tayong magsampa ng petition against the House of Representatives for trying to prosecute a non-existing impeachment case and against the Senate of the Philippines for trying to acquire jurisdiction and to hear a non-existing impeachment case. Nakahanda na po yung aking petition po dyan, mga minamahal na kababayan, bilang isang mamamayang Pilipino, bilang isang taxpayer. Sabi ko nga po sa inyo, nung tayo nangangampanya, nananahimik na po ako bilang isang ordinaryong abogadong probinsyano at bilang isang ordinaryong magsasaka na lamang po. Pero dahil po sa tiwalang ibinigay po sa akin ni Tatay Digong nung ako po ay kanyang nakumbinsing tumakbo sa pagkasenador, at nakita ko mas lumawak yung aking pananaw at nakita ko yung malalang problema sa politika dito sa ating bansa, pinangako ko sa aking sarili, babalik po ako bilang isang abogado. Iko-comply ko po lahat ng kinakailangan kong i-comply para makabalik po ako bilang isang practicing lawyer muli dito po sa ating bansa. So yan po yung aking mga pahayag tungkol po dyan sa impeachment ni VP Sara. Uulitin ko, hindi na po pwedeng ma-prosecute yung nakabinbin na impeachment case na ito pagkatapos ng June 30 dahil baliwala na po yan. Kung gusto po nilang magsampa muli ng impeachment kay VP Sara, magsampa po sila ng panibago. But they can only do that after February 5. Ganon din po ang Senado. Pagpipilit po ng Senado na sila po ay didinggin po nila itong nakabinbin na impeachment case, I will also act accordingly as a lawyer, as a Filipino citizen, as a taxpayer. Yan po, and as an ordinary Filipino citizen. Kasi ang impeachment case laban sa Vice President Sara, purely political persecution yan. It's purely political persecution. Gusto lang po nilang matanggal si VP Sara sa political equation comes 2028 at hindi po natin papayagan yan. Nakahanda po ako na ipusta po lahat ang aking karangalan, ang aking kalayaan, pati ang aking buhay para po sa kapakanan ng mamamayang Pilipino at ng bansang Pilipinas. Mabuhay po tayo at umasa po kayo. Andito lamang po isang ordinaryong probinsyanong abogado, isang magsasaka, isang katulad po ninyong Pilipinong nagmamahal sa bayang Pilipinas. Mabuhay po tayo at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.